So every person rises and every person falls. That is the life cycle. In the Lion King, Mufasa, the king, explains to Simba, the little cub prince, right? The king's rule rises and falls like the sun. He's saying this at the beginning of the sunrise. My time as king will rise and fall like the sun. Then it will be your time. See? And within the course of that movie, that's what happened. Mufasa became not the king, and then later Simba became the king. And the point is, the movie was for Simba to realize that he was the king. Now, the point is that every person, Simba starts as a boy and turns into a man. Mufasa is a man, and I'm not going to spoil anything, you've probably seen the movie, but he moves along in his life, right? And, I'll spoil it. I mean, everyone knows anyway. He dies. He gets killed. He dies, right? That's what happened. And then his body became part of the earth again, right? Like it became the grass, right? Now, the point is that everything rising and falling, we all sort of know that, but it's important to actually be aware of at a deeper level, because people resist when they're young and happy and nothing matters and everything is good. They're very happy, but things go wrong eventually in every person's life. No matter how well constructed, no matter how stable, no matter how preservatory, no matter how careful a person is about their lives. And those are all good things to do, by the way. They're not to be thrown away just because they're ultimately futile. But they're ultimately futile because the knees will creak at one point. The joints will malfunction. The organs will malfunction or they just weaken. The skin loses its tightness. The hair loses its color. And eventually the body loses its life. No matter how much, we're living in an era now where people are trying to extend life through technology and stuff, and they can do that as best as they can, but they can't actually prevent death. They can't make someone live for 1,000,000,000 years or for an infinity or something. Certainly not an infinity. You can extend it fairly far, maybe, with depending on the extent of the technology to redo someone's skin or to give them an artificial heart or whatever. But the point is that no form lasts forever, and that's the point. No world even lasts forever. In the larger universe, in the Milky Way, in the larger cosmos of our existent physical space, planets are born and they die. People are born and they die. And one may even surmise that from a particular person's point of view, this world and all didn't exist until their awareness came into it and shone onto it. See? Their awareness, from my personal standpoint, right? The Milky Way and the Earth and everything didn't exist until I came around, right? Now, our mind will tell us otherwise. Oh, but it existed for this many billion years and so forth. Now, I'm not disputing that, right? But what I'm saying is that the fact that it's animated for me has to do with me. It has to do with my awareness being here. And in that sense, when you have an awareness, what your awareness focuses on becomes very real to you. Whether that means it's the objective truth is a completely separate matter, but it becomes very real to you, and that's what we're talking about. Cultivating your awareness such that it's beneficial, such that it's in communion with God, such that a person's own internal miseries, insecurities, etc. don't become the focal point of their life, but something better, something worthwhile, something with more purpose, something that fills someone with bliss and joy, something that fulfills their existence, which is temporary. My existence is temporary, yours is too. As this person, it's perishable. Just like all the things are perishable. What's real is the unconditioned, formless consciousness. what this means is that while any person has limitations, the consciousness doesn't. A person has physical limitations, consciousness doesn't. And when you realize that nothing can be held on to forever anyway, that everything rises and falls, your attachment to certain things that hold you down can be let go of. George Harrison from the Beatles said in an interview, good and bad are two sides of the same coin. And I'm thinking, oh, what does he mean by that? Because good is better than bad, right? Well, it is on a relative scale. In the ultimate sense, it's all part of the duality of the world. There's good and there's bad. There's day and there's night. There's light and dark. Hot and cold. But all of it rises and falls. And we experience the totality within it. And it's our attachment to the idea that these things are permanent, that our lives are permanent, that our death is to be avoided at all costs, meaning that's the only thing that matters. It's the fear of death. It's the non-acknowledgement that with the rise there's a fall that causes intense dis-ease, which also causes disease as well from a mental and spiritual standpoint, causing disease in the body. Not that that's the only cause, sometimes they're purely physical cause, but a lot of it's just caused in here. Rise and fall. But what's there underneath the rise and fall? What is the purpose then of being here? Some say life is meaningless, and they mean that depressingly. Doesn't even matter, you'll die eventually anyway. Some people say life is meaningless, and they mean that in a good way, which is to say it alleviates you of pressure and all. I think Eckhart Tolle put it best. He said, honor everything, but nothing matters. What is real, though, is the clarity of this moment. This moment is real. This moment is also the creation of all future moments. But this moment is real. Is what I see in this moment real? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe my mind is interpreting things in ways that are false or deceitful. Maybe my ego is tricking me. But this moment is real. And this moment is something that we're all experiencing. If you're watching this, you're experiencing it at the moment at which you're watching it. You're experiencing the present now. This moment has always been real. The contents of this moment rise and fall. The contents of this moment change. All content rises and falls, but this moment does not rise and fall. That is the everlasting, impermanent awareness, which is you. The real you. Underneath the form that rises and falls. This moment contains all the power of the universe. This moment shows the collective progress or the collective creation of all of consciousness. By collective, I mean accumulating. It's from all past moments, right? This bed, this house, this shirt, this physical form. And that I'm just talking about what's right in front of me right now. The air, the fact that the particular air that I'm breathing is not polluted. The fact that I can sit here in safety and not worry and therefore make a video like this. All of this is what Eckhart would call the intelligence of life. Capital L, life. Life is creating things, arranging all circumstances, arranging everything. And we sit here and benefit from it. We sit here and can just enjoy. So long as we're not caught up and contained in our mind which is obsessed with all importance about all the things that rise and fall. It's not about not knowing facts and information. It's about knowing that the things in our mind are not all important. And thereby, when we do engage, choosing carefully, right? It's like if you have a menu, you're at a very bad restaurant, you have a menu of horrible food, like unhealthy stuff, and you just look at that and you're trying to pick and choose which of these horrible things you want to eat. It's a matter of walking outside of that restaurant, realizing that restaurant is not a good restaurant, and walking into another one where everything is good. And you can more easily just pick and choose, oh, do I want this salad, or do I want this sandwich? You see? It's about having the patience and clarity to move beyond what you think is all important. Step into a higher reality. That is the purpose of things that fall. If things were ever permanent, you'd just be stuck in the bad restaurant forever. This is about realizing that that bad restaurant will go at some point, and therefore it's not that important. We are the awareness. We are the awareness, which has become individuated, and each person should fulfill their individual destiny. That's the purpose of your life. But know that it's subsumed back into the universe when the physical form no longer sustains. And then that unconditioned awareness simply moves along to another birth, to another place, into unconditionedness, whatever it may be. Living in the now, as it always has, in the ever-present life. In the ever-present life, which is all that I see around me.